today, and we're in Bloemfontein, and this is the scene for the latest in the series of New Age Business Briefings. And on Friday, you may have known or you may have read about the State of the Province address that was delivered by the Free State Premier, Mr. Ilyas Sekgobelo Ace Magashule. Well, he joins us now in conversation to talk about the state of the province, and you too can be a part of that. All you have to do is send us a tweet. Hashtag TNA Biz Brief is one of our platforms. Hashtag TNA Biz Brief, that's B-I-Z, and also at Morning Live SABC. But let's meet the man of the moment. Premier, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us and giving us this opportunity to have this conversation with you.
Always a pleasure, Peter, and good morning. And good morning to the viewers and listeners.
All right, so Friday you delivered your State of the Province address, and the overarching theme was that things are going well, that we're making progress, and that we're better off than we certainly were in 1994. Let's unpack some of that. One of the pillars of your administration has been this Operation Hlasela. Tell us a little bit about what that is and why that was important to you.
Well, Operation Hlasela was really one of our pillars. It meant that we must Hlasela, attack poverty, illiteracy, unemployment, inequalities, social ills, and I think that's what we have done in the last 5 years.
All right, so the other thing was, in your speech, you spoke about the achievements over the past 20 years, but also, I guess, in the last 5 under your administration. I see here on our table here, there are a number of awards that you've been given. Tell us a little bit about what you have seen has been achieved by your administration, achieved by your province, and why it is that you've been able to get these awards.
Well, you remember, as before we came into this new term, 2009-2014, the ANC came with its own manifesto and said to the people of the Free State and South Africa, we are going to prioritize education, health, rural development, fighting against corruption, revitalization, building a better economy. And that's what we have said we'll do. We have said we'll deal with the issue of clean audits. So here you see that the Auditor General, this comes from the Auditor General, former Auditor General, Mr. Nombembe. PFMA, Clean Audit Award, financial year 2010-2011, financial year 2011-2012, financial year 2012-2013, and empty there. So for the last 3 years, the Premier's Department had clean audit. And the Department of Treasury, I don't have the one of the Department of Treasury is with the MEC. 4 consecutive years. And our clean audit was supposed to be 5 years. As we came in 2009 until to date, we have clean audit. Department of Treasury, 4 years consecutively. Department of Sports joined last year. And as we came in, we had a lot of disclaimers. There is no single department in the provincial government with a disclaimer. And you can go down to our municipalities. The 5 districts then, now there are 4. Clean, unqualified. You can go to Mangaung, it was having a disclaimer. If you look back last year and this year, Mangaung is better. St. Lake, unqualified. Mapwater, unqualified. Kopanong, Sitsoto, Metsimaholo, a lot of improvement. So there are only 8 municipalities which are still struggling. But because of the legacy, we are addressing the issues which are very, very serious. So as a province, in terms of clean audit, better administration, people always criticize us, but they never say, thank you, you are actually improving. But people know what is happening out there. The people of South Africa and the Free State know the truth. And this one is Karakude. Let me start with this one. This one is Karakude 2011. In terms of education, we are regarded as one province which is very, very good. Best performer in the whole country, 2011, Karakude. And that's why this past year, 2013, 15,000 people who did not know how to read and write, 15,000 of them on Saturday, we're awarding them their certificates. Now, this one is learner retention. In the whole country, in terms of learner retention awards 2012. So that's why I'm saying we have done very well. The best performer in terms of metric. I was listening this morning, somebody saying when we take over, I think it's ACDP or UCDP, when we take over, we'll take 5,000 students first year to go and do medicine. And I said, is this person aware that we don't even have such a big university which will take at once 5,000 medicine students? We have done very well because we have given a lot of people 7,242 bursaries. And as I look at that list, I have packages. And I was counting how many are whites, how many are so-called Indians, and how many are so-called coloreds. And I'm proud to say, when I look at it, I found almost 502 whites who have been given bursaries by this pair. Then the rest is black, and some of them are even staying outside the country. I said on Friday, we have about 6 pilots, competent, well-trained, and I've already engaged the Minister of Defense to say we have these pilots, what are we going to do with them? And there is a plan for them. So we have done well, and in terms of education, we have invested in bursaries. In fact, that is youth development. Youth investment, because look at the future in the next 5 years or so. The youth of this province shall have been empowered. They will be able to take their parents out of poverty through an investment in education. You can go to the rural schools. We have 28 boarding schools for farm kids. They eat there. Health facilities are there. School nutrition. So the province in South Africa is better off in terms of education. You can go and see how many schools have been built in the last 5 years. If I integrate it with the last 15, 20 years, then I think as South Africa we have done a lot. And in terms of health, when we came in, we were told that there's no medicine. People are saying there are no ARVs in our hospitals. Our report is very clear. We have visited some of the clinics, hospitals, 98%, 97% medicine availability. We have done well, and I think that's what we have done. In terms of rural development, you can go to the Atalawa. It's one farm where we have brought all services. I mean all services. There was nothing there. It was a simple farm where people did not have houses. If you go there today, there is that human settlement. If people want to go and see what human settlement means, they must go to the Atalawa. Must go to revitalization of our rural areas. Cornelia, Bloemfontein, Henneman, Vredefort, Kopis, Heilbron, Magashule, Jacobsdal, all those, Velkom, Ottendalsrest, Paris. If you want to see township revitalization, we have paved almost 143 kilometers of roads in the township. We have better roads today. In terms of the economy and building a better economy, we have started those 23 roads. And when MEC Manyoni was there, we just decided, let's move on. We'll see what happens later. And we are happy to, people, when you travel in the province, you people from other parts of the country, smooth driving. We have some challenges with some other roads, but this year we are dealing with those roads. The Newcastle, Warden Road, Memel, is going to be one of the roads, raised castle. So we have done well. And I think we are proud as the province and as part of South Africa, we are proud that indeed South Africa is a better place to live in. And lastly, let me say to you why I say it's a better place. In my own town, before 94, we had one secondary school. In Kroonstad, in Ottendalsstraat, they had one secondary school. People from Ottendal had to travel to Kroonstad to go and study. I'm closer to the Vaal. I had to go to the Vaal State School to go and study there because the school ended at JC Standard 8. People then have to go to Kwakwa to go and study there because that's where the homeland system was. If you go to Paris today, 5 high schools, 8 primary schools. There was 1 primary school. So people can't say South Africa is not better today when we have actually all these things. So we have actually delivered. And I can assure you, for 20 years we have actually done well. But for the last 5 years, under the presidency of Jacob Zuma, I think he has done a lot for this country, invested trillions in things you can see in terms of infrastructure development, mega projects for the first time, and a lot of job creation. People might actually look at some of the things and say there are no jobs. On Friday, we'll be with the president at a town called Rates. We'll go to a project where we have invested a lot of money with IDC, practically created more than 1,000 jobs. Now we are coming with a biofuel in Bothaville. You'll see how many jobs will be created. It's expected that almost 11,000 jobs will be created. So we have done a lot.
All right. So we'll unpack some of those projects in a bit more detail as the program unfolds. But I guess there have been some challenges over time. And if you could turn the clock back a little bit, what might you have done differently? What might you say, okay, I put my hand up, perhaps we should have done more here, perhaps we could have done better here?
Well, we have done a lot better. Challenges obviously are there. The bureaucratic processes and procedures of government is one thing which is a big challenge. You want to do something today, because of procedures and bureaucratic processes, instead of buying this pen today, you'll buy this pen after 30 days. The challenge is that in terms of empowering our people, in terms of paying them, as expected within 30 days. A lot of people are not paid within 30 days. And that's what I think is still a challenge. But I think we have addressed that matter, and we have done very, very well. But it's a big challenge. One of the challenges, obviously, we had hoped that by now, it's still a long journey, that we shall have dealt with the issue of learner transport, because there are still kids from the farms who travels kilos and kilos, but not only from the farms, even from rural areas. Kids in Kwakwa, you have to move from Rietpan to go to the University of Free State Kwakwa campus. It's quite a distance, and such young people don't have money every day. They say they pay almost 16 rand a day. Time is 30, and time is a year to travel all the time. So it means they still need accommodation closer to the University of Kwakwa because it's full. One of the challenges is that we have produced a lot of university students, almost 9,000 this past financial year, 2013. Our universities cannot absorb all of them. We have produced about 10,000 of them for FET colleges. They can't be absorbed, and I'm happy that extra 12,000 extra 12 FET colleges are going to be built in our country this year. So those are some of the few challenges, and we're still struggling with those municipalities in terms of...
How far are we with housing? Because I remember one of the last conversations we had, the public protector was out here and there was a backlog and there were challenges in terms of some of the service providers not delivering. How have you dealt with that in the past year?
Well, big challenge because we are addressing, as I say, with the ANC, it's not individuals who are in power who are bringing the necessary changes. That's what people forget. It's the ANC itself. It's the collective. But we are addressing a mess of some people who are leaders of the ANC who are so critical about the ANC today because we are addressing some of the legacies of between 94 and 99 when some premiers were there. They built one-room houses, Blue Bush in Kwakwa. They built unfinished houses. Now, when we say they are incomplete houses, people think that these incomplete houses happened during our term. We are addressing incomplete houses which were there in 1994 up to 95 and beyond some points. And we have done well because we have completed a lot of incomplete houses. We have actually given our people hope that South Africa is a better place. You can come back, just here, home, Batu location. 60 square meter houses. Go to Pahame. We have built beautiful houses where we had one room. Go to Makegung, 70 square meter houses. Go to the colored communities. Go and see a new suburb in Fijonskroon. In this term, as we move forward into the future, because 100% the ANC will still be in charge. New towns in Bloemfontein.
All right. So if I get what you're saying is that you're saying your predecessors perhaps dropped the ball, and you're fixing that now. Are we moving forward, or are you still fixing the problems that were created?
The first predecessor, the one who came in 94, 99, was a problem. That was the person who took us back. The other predecessors were addressing the problems created by this one. And it's a continuation of that. But it's an honest view. Because this person always says Zuma has not done anything, the ANC has not done anything. But these people forget that when they were mayors, when they were councillors, when they were premiers, when they were MECs, they were always saying the ANC is doing so much. You must vote for the ANC. This is a good party. It has never failed anybody, and it will never do that in future. Once they left, they see a difference. So South Africans are not really so stupid to see that, but these individuals is about themselves, not about people generally. And I think that's the point I want to make. What we have done during my term is not what I have done as Magashule. It's what the ANC government and the collective of our people and our leadership in this province, from mayors, that's what we have done together with the people. Otherwise, we'll never achieve anything.
All right. Racism, racial harmony, a word that was coined by Minister Magashule, social cohesion. Free State seems to be the center often of some of these. There was a guy that was beaten up, allegedly a racial incident. We had the whole thing at the Free State University. And even your elective conference nearly got bombed. How far has the Free State gone, do you think? Has there been progress in social cohesion, racial harmony?
Well, I think there's been a lot of progress. There are these incidents, and I think maybe they happen at the University of the Free State, and because it has been a focus area, I think it's not something which generally it means that the Free State is a racist province. The Free State, you can feel it, that it's a province of Ubuntu, where people can still greet each other and one another, black and white. But there are those incidents of racism. And I think as time goes on, democracy will mature, people will continue understanding that indeed there is a need for a non-racial society. There is a need for us to coexist and live together and share the wealth of this country and be human beings, be treated like human beings. So it's a process, and I think with time, it depends on our leadership, and I think the leadership can only be provided by the ruling party, the African National Congress. So it will take our time. We'll address these issues.
All right, you've talked about the ANC quite a bit now. This time about a year ago, you were taking each other to court. Where are we in terms of the party in this province?
No, we are not taking each other to court. People who clearly had a plan. These things were planned long ago. You can actually see that external forces outside this country are trying to destabilize this country. And they had people within us who wanted to destabilize the ANC and weaken it and narrow the social base of the African National Congress. That's what happens in any revolution. 20 years into freedom, there are people who wanted to reverse the gains of our revolution. And unfortunately, in any history of struggle and revolutions, you'll find that there are individuals who are having that type of an agenda. And they were there in the ANC. You can see once they left, because they've been thinking about forming parties, SA First, New Party, and another one, EFF, and these people were inside the party. So it is clear that there is peace in this organization. It is cleaning itself up. And we are peaceful. We are better organized. We did not need those people because they were part of the counter-revolutionaries. I'm sorry to say it, but
okay. What do you say to people who say that the ANC in the Free State is Ace Magashule?
No, the ANC in the Free State will never be Ace Magashule. If the ANC in the Free State was Ace Magashule, the ANC in the Free State was not going to be voted by ordinary masses. There is collective leadership in this province. I will never be ANC. And that's why leaders come and go. The ANC will remain. That's why the ANC is 102 years today. Because it's not about any individual. It's like when people say it's only Nelson Mandela who has... Nelson Mandela was born after the ANC. The ANC 1912, Nelson Mandela 1918. As Magashule came years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we'll start getting into the questions.